Welcome to the Rugby League Outsiders Set of 6, our weekly news show where we cover the good, the great and the noteworthy of Rugby League outside the Heartlands. My name's Craig.
And my name's Karl, and on this week's show we'll be talking Edinburgh Giants, we'll be talking Huddersfield Giants, and we'll also have a University Rugby League update.
Right, Karl, let's get straight into it then. Some great stories and a big chat about the big signings of Huddersfield. But before we get to that, I just want to talk a little bit about Edinburgh Giants and the update that's coming out of the Scotland's capital.
So Edinburgh Giants, a team that we had their founder, Martin Gill, on this show a couple of years, 2 years ago now, guest of the year. He won, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, season 1, yeah.
Very proud guest of the year. They've only been going 3 years, and they've put themselves in place for a place in the Wheelchair Super League. It's really exciting. You watch them online, social media, I know that's what we've got to go on, but they seem like a club that's really well run. Everything they do is incredibly professional. More so than some of the Super League teams, I may add, and I think they're definitely a level above some of the other Wheelchair Super League sides. To see them put an application in to join the big dance, I suppose, the Wheelchair Super League is, it's great to see.
Yeah, I mean, right from the onset, they set out their stall to be like a high-class team, didn't they?
Yes.
Everything they did, everything they presented to the outside world was high quality, Super League level. And I suppose the only thing that was missing was that solid player base, in their maiden season. Now they're, a couple of seasons in, getting ready for next season. Obviously feel like they've hit a level in the playing level, lots of levels going on here, where they can compete in Super League. So I wonder what kind of effect that's going to have on Super League teams in regards to travel to Edinburgh. And, you're going to go from Edinburgh to London, aren't you?
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a big, it's a big step in it.
It's a big journey.
Yeah, it's a big journey, big long old journey, that. But they've clearly got stuff in place if they feel that they can go for it. So, I wish them all the success. So a little bit of detail. So Super League, Wheelchair Super League's expanding next year. I think they decreased it the year before, but I think because we've got so many clubs now doing so well in Wheelchair Super League, the sport's just growing in it nationwide, decided that they're going to extend this Wheelchair Super League. So entries have got to be in by the 29th of this month.
Right.
And then then they will find out on the 13th of December who's going to be in that Wheelchair Super League next year.
New shirts for Christmas.
New shirts for Christmas, yeah. Yep. Just going back to the Giants, though, like you just alluded to, everything they've done seems to be really sort of professional. They've brought in different stakeholders. They've got really good sponsors lined up, so they've clearly got some money behind the club now. I think they're actually a registered charity as well now.
Right.
So there's a lot happening, and when you talked about like international rugby, a lot of the Edinburgh Giants players have played for Scotland as well now. So it's a club that's not just flying the flag for the domestic competition in Scotland. They're actually dragging up the national team as well. I think there's a lot of work gone in from Martin and other people within Scotland Rugby League, and it's like they've had that opportunity to play on the bigger stage, playing for Scotland. It's all looking positive, and I wish them the best of luck as they find out what happens.
Yeah, likewise. Right, we're going to go from Edinburgh Giants and what they're potentially going to get for Christmas and look at Huddersfield Giants and what they're definitely getting for Christmas ahead of pre-season training and then new signings from the NRL.
Yeah, so Huddersfield didn't have a great season last year, did they? By any stretch of the imagination. I think, it started pretty poorly. It got worse in the middle. They had a little bit of a resurgence at the end when Luke Robinson came in, but a team that sort of lacked, I don't know, inspiration. There's something was
a miss, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big miss last year with Huddersfield, and it was one of those teams you didn't really want to watch when they were on Sky TV. There weren't much too much going on really. They weren't very exciting, but yeah, they brought in 3 players from the NRL. We're bringing the sniper in, who's our NRL expert. He's going to give us a couple of stats and things. So they brought in Tom Burgess from the Bunnies, Jacob Gagai from the Bunnies, and Zak Woolford from Canberra Raiders. So a winger, a forward, and a hooker. And here's what he had to say.
So, festive period, what have Huddersfield got for Christmas? That's the main question. So they've got 3 players in. They've got 3 players in from the NRL. One of them you guys know really well.
Yeah.
Tom Burgess. Who's your favourite Burgess brother before we kick off?
Oh, that's an obvious answer. It's obviously Sam.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why's that?
I'll be honest with you. It was a natural leader. The rest of the Burgess brothers followed in his shadow. I always thought George was decent, but yeah, Sam was without doubt the best player. I've never been a massive fan of Tom, to be honest with you. I'm a Bradford fan, so I used to watch him week out at Bradford, and I never thought he had the best hands. He used to cough up a lot of ball. I think he did get a lot better once he went to the NRL. Yeah, but he wasn't my favourite Burgess brother.
He was only with Bradford for about a year, wasn't he?
A couple of years, really, because we saw him come up through the sort of academy ranks and things like that as well. But yeah, he spent enough time there.
Yeah, slightly different answer for me. I love the 2 twins. I love the fact that they come off the bench. You can't really tell who's who. Do you know what I mean? I love them more. Like they're my favourite as a pair. If I had to pick an individual, then I would pick Sam. So that's my answer to that.
Because I think I think Tom scored around 1 in 10 tries whilst he was at Bradford. So he played 45 games. He got 4 tries. And if you look at what he actually did in Australia, it's pretty much the same average.
Yeah.
He had 249 games for the Rabbitohs. He scored 22 tries. So you're looking at about 1 in 10 again. And we've always been really big fans of his. Because generally, if you find a team with a soft middle, he's a great player to take for a try.
Yeah.
So we've done quite well on him. We've got 12-1, 14-1 on him, and odds like that. So he's definitely a favourite of our group. So in terms of what he's been doing, have you kept an eye on him whilst he's been in Australia?
So I get to watch a couple of NRL games every now and then with a sort of time difference. So, but yeah, he's had a solid couple of years there, hasn't he? Well, longer than a couple of years now.
Yeah. He's been there, since 2013. So, 249 appearances. It's huge.
Massive, yeah.
So, in terms of what he'll give Huddersfield, I think if the first question everyone's going to be asking is, has he still got it?
Yeah.
He's definitely still got it. You guys would have seen him play for England, particularly last year. I think he did score a try last year whilst playing. Who were England playing in the Tonga?
Yeah.
Tonga last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored against Tonga. He's definitely still got it. He'll give Huddersfield a massive energy boost through the middle. He can still dominate a ruck, and he's a really, really big attacking presence, especially for a big man. So I think you'll be impressed in attack. I think he'll be really good. But the main question is, he'll be really good in attack. But why didn't his brother sign him?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it's something to do with finance. I think Warrington have already spent pretty big. I think they've got a fairly balanced side anyway, so that's probably why. I don't know, unless you've got any inside knowledge. I think it'd be probably to do with price.
It could be price. It could be. I mean, if you're looking a little bit more deeply, he does get found out in defence.
Yeah.
So the word I've got written down here is he's a potato in defence. So that could be the main issue. So it could be too many mince pies at Christmas. It could be, he's just not got the movement that he used to.
No,
laterally.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Tom Burgess is a player that suits Huddersfield, actually. Huddersfield were a bit soft down the middle last year, and it cost them. They didn't build much of a platform, so I think bringing in somebody like Tom Burgess is a good fit for Huddersfield. It's good sort of signing for Luke Robinson. Yeah, that with the other player we're going to mention in a minute, I think he's going to really strengthen their pack, really.
Right. Do you think, because he's been playing 20-minute stints in the NRL, do you think he'll get a starting role, or will he be a bench forward?
I think he'll start. And it wouldn't surprise me if he played a little bit longer than 20-minute stints as well. I know he's always been an impact player, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Huddersfield want to get a bit more out of him.
So of late, he's been found out when he's moving laterally and he's been sliding in. his tackle efficiency is the worst in the NRL for a starting prop.
Oh,
Really?
So
right,
that's
okay.
something that Huddersfield fans will need to be aware of. Statistically, it's really, really poor. So we think he'll be a gun in attack. No doubt he'll score, 10% or more like he did before.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to get found out. And the question is, has he got the engine that he used to have?
Well, how did he go last year? If you watched most of his games last year, was he still pretty efficient, or?
Yeah, it was 20-minute stints. It was attacking impact stints. And he did cross a few times. So yeah, I think he was brought on for impact rather than defensive solidity. If you look at the Rabbitohs season, it wasn't great. They were ravaged by injury. Alex Johnston was out on the wing for ages. He's gone under the knife and he's going to be out. I think he's going to miss the first few games of next season as well. So they were in a really, really bad state. They were, I think, one of the teams hit hardest by injury. So it was a case of players plugging holes rather than players playing in their rightful position.
Right.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah, should we move on to? I think we'll stay with the pack. So Huddersfield, we know are desperate for a hooker. So Zak Woolford is coming from Canberra Raiders. What can you tell us about him?
He's a very solid defender, given his lack of NRL experience. He's not someone that teams can target, and in the past he's shown that he's decent in terms of creativity, and he can put players through for a try. In terms of cons, he hasn't got much NRL experience. He's been sitting on the bench most of the time. Other players have taken priority with the coach and the squad. I think you've had Danny Levi, who's taken the starting hooker position over the last couple of years or so. He only played one game for Canberra this season. He's not a well-known try scorer, so he won't be a big threat from dummy half for defenders to worry about. So, I mean, I think Canberra have probably done the right thing. Morgan Smithies hasn't really done that well. He's been solid, but he's been a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be carrying Zak Woolford and Morgan Smithies in the same team. So it could be a good signing for Huddersfield.
A little bit of an unknown, then.
What do you think
think
he's going to bring to Huddersfield, guys?
Well, I don't know. I don't know too much about him. So, I mean, he's played in the Queensland Cup, I believe. He seems to have quite a good reputation, but like you say, he's not played much NRL. So, yeah, it's hard for us to say on that one. It could be one of those buys though that Huddersfield have found a bit of a gem in the rough, really.
Could be. He could be really good. He's still 28 years old, so this ought to be his prime. Who's the starting hooker at the moment for Huddersfield?
It was Adam Milner, wasn't it? But he's moved on.
Yeah, I don't think they've got a recognised hooker at the minute.
Right.
Huddersfield pretty tight.
And then the other thing is Jake Connors.
Yeah, he's moved on as well.
So I was wondering who's going to play. Who's going to be fullback? Are they going to move Lola Haya to fullback?
One thing I do know is when Huddersfield announced Zak Woolford, they very much announced him like he was he's going to be their main man at hooker. I think they said in the press conference that they're short in the 9 department. So yeah, we'll see where he lands, but it could well be the starting 9 for Huddersfield next year.
I think solid rather than flashy is the way to look at it. Hopefully he carves it up in Super League, does really well. That'd be really good to see.
Well, Huddersfield have generally signed players that are just hard working, don't they? They don't really tend to go for sort of flashy individuals that are. I think Huddersfield have, since sort of the Paul Anderson era, they've always built a sort of just a solid team that just goes under the radar a little bit. So it may well fit in really well for them.
Yeah. Do you think they'll improve this coming season?
Yes, I think they will.
I think they've got to. I think they've really got to. In all aspects of the game, really. I mean, the crowds were pretty dire. The atmosphere was pretty dire. The rugby on the pitch was not very inspirational.
They just never really got going last year, did they, Huddersfield?
No.
They just stalled. So we'll see how they go. Should we move on to the last signing from the NRL? From the Bunnies then? Jacob Gagai.
Yeah, so he's the joker in the pack. He's the one that could potentially light the fuse, get the body language going, get the fans going, score a load of tries, and make a real point of difference in attack. So the issue he had last season at the Rabbitohs was that Cody Walker moved from the left to the right.
Right.
That in terms of ball, he wasn't getting great ball. He'll be potentially feeding off Lolohea there, so he should start to see more ball. He's a player that can find the try line. He plays far more maturely than what his experience shows in terms of NRL experience. Because I think he only actually made his debut this year, and he's 28 years old.
Wow.
So on paper, he hasn't really been blooded for that long. But he was good. He was very popular in the betting market. He was normally around even money to score every week, even against the big teams. So he's popular. He's liked. He's the little brother of Dane Gagai, who you might know from the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah.
And he's the cousin of Wendell and Tristan Saylor.
All right.
So they're all from the same family. Yeah. So Saylor's coming over, and Gagai's cousin's coming over as well. So no doubt they'll be up to no good together in the Super League.
So how do you think he's going to go then? Do
So
you think he's a decent signing for Huddersfield?
I do. I think he's the most exciting one. In terms of stature, he's fairly lightweight. He's quite lithe. He knows how to finish. He's quick, but he's not that quick.
Right.
So, he's not electric. You're not sort of looking at someone that's going to burn defences week in, week out. He can be found out in defence as well. So they're going to have to keep an eye on him, because I think he will be targeted.
So that's two.
In terms of tries, he scored, I think 9 tries or so last season.
In how many games? How many games he played? Sorry.
Yeah, he played 17 games. He played Magic Round. He played in Vegas. His debut was in Vegas.
Yes.
And he scored on his debut, which would have been an awesome feeling.
Okay.
And then he went on to make 17 appearances and scored 9 tries.
9 tries in 17 appearances. A
2.
pretty good strike rate. I think Huddersfield will take that, definitely.
Absolutely. And the issue was he was behind Tymon Rowe. So Tymon Rowe is the next big thing for the NRL. Really tall, lanky winger, great finisher. And I think, it was just a little bit too much for him to overtake him and another guy called Fletcher Myers, who had a really good end to the season. So Alex Johnston's been out. He's coming back. I would have Fletcher Myers third string. I'd have Tymon Rowe first team. So he's probably 4th or 5th in terms of the pecking order.
Right.
So Huddersfield have done really well here. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see him score 20 plus tries in Super League.
All
Do you
good.
want to ask me something, or is that fine?
Well, I would say you look at those 3 signings for Huddersfield. Which one do you think is going to be the best signing, and which one do you think is going to be the worst?
Well, we're biased Tom Burgess fans.
Yeah.
So he's got to be in the middle. We take Gagai 1, Burgess 2,
yeah,
Woolford 3. So Gagai will impress. He'll definitely go on a streak. The Huddersfield fans are going to love him, and I don't think he's going to trouble top try scorer, but he'll definitely be in the top quarter in terms of try scorers, if you like. So it'll be nice for them to have a different point of difference in attack rather than just Lolohea.
Yeah.
So Lolohea and Jake Bibby and all that. He'll be good. Very confident on him.
Sniper, thank you very much again for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
All right, if you enjoyed that, that's part of a regular feature that we're going to have in the run-up to next season. We're going to break down the new signings from every club in the Super League from the NRL and just get a little bit of depth, because a lot of these players we perhaps don't know a great deal about. And the Sniper, it's his job to understand these players, to know what other people don't know about them. So next week we're going to tackle Catalan. Probably may even do like a 2-part series with Catalan, because there is some mega signings into Catalans and lots of them as well. So stay tuned for that. As always, we want your feedback on this kind of stuff. So if you think it's a hit and you're enjoying it, let us know and we'll do more of it. Okay, from there, Karl, can we move on to a bit of University Rugby League now?
Yes, I touched on University Rugby League last week. I looked at the national table and what was going on there. So I thought we'd have a look at some of the results that came in over the weekend. Well, actually midweek. They're playing Wednesdays, don't they, University Rugby League. So have a look at some of the results that came in, and then I thought we'd have a look at the national table, both the southern and the northern tier ones, just to see how sides are getting on. So the first result that came in was from the National League, which was Northumbria. First team, they beat Newcastle. Newcastle are having a torrid time of it. I don't think they've picked up any victories yet, but sitting bottom of the table. But yeah, a bit of a local derby, that one. So Northumbria, one of the top sides in the National League, really took it to Newcastle. So looking at the Southern Division, we've got Swansea 16, Nottingham 20, and then Gloucester 1's 20, Exeter 2's 24. So if we take a look at the table for the Southern tier, Nottingham sitting top of the table at the minute, played 3, have got 9 points. Swansea not far behind them, so that were a big game of this weekend.
Yeah, it's good to see like all the different, ones, twos. I think there's a couple of third teams in there as well. So obviously lots of depth in University Rugby League. We're going to talk about depth in Rugby League later on in the Williams Weekly, so stay with us for that. Moving on to the Northern League then. Yeah,
so there is more than one tier. So there's like a tier 1, tier 2, actually a tier 3 in some of the divisions. But I thought we'd just focus on tier 1s and the National League. So looking at the Northern tier then, you've got Liverpool, John Moores, currently top of the table there, undefeated, played 4, won 4, 12 points. Northumbria 2s, again, another strong side. Northumbria, they're currently sat behind them on 9 points. So that division's looking strong. It's great to see, actually, Liverpool and Northumbria, two names you don't associate with rugby league, doing really well in the table. And then on to the National League then. Leeds Beckett still top of the table, played 5 with 15 points. Northumbria on their heels, played 4, 9 points. And then you got Exeter are on 9 points, Loughborough on 6, and Leeds on 3. And then you've actually got Newcastle sitting in 6th.
Okay, exciting news. We'll keep you, as always, up to date with those scores and the comings and goings in University Rugby League. We're going to move on now to a new team in Rugby League that may, in the future, have a bit of a sting in their tail.
So Bath Bees launched...
You don't recognise my what transition there?
I did, I noticed it.
Oh, carry on.
Bath Bees, they started last year, sort of a development side. There's not much rugby going on in the sort of west of England at the minute, so it was great that they sort of launched last year. They launched the women's team. I don't know how many games they played. I think they played maybe a couple of festivals, merit games and things like that, but they're really going for it this year. I think they called it a soft launch last year.
Yeah.
So they're going for a proper launch this year. They've got both a women's team and a men's team launching this summer, and they're looking for expressions of interest for players at the minute. So we'll put the links down in our description below. There's 2 links there. If you want to register expressions of interest to play rugby league in Bath next year, you're going to have the opportunity to do so. If you're a rugby union player, it's all good because it's outside the rugby union season. So I know there's a lot of rugby union players in Bath. I think they'll be hoping to tap into them.
Yeah, really exciting. Emerging rugby league outside the Heartlands. It can only be a good thing. All right, as well as in conjunction with that, we just want to talk to you a little bit about our own project in regards to developing rugby league outside the Heartlands and the Midlands Nines.
Yeah, so we run the Midlands Nines last year, and we're looking for expressions of interest again this coming season. Craig, what was the Midlands Nines? Give us a bit of a description on what went on, and for anybody who doesn't know about it.
Okay, so we had this little bit of a brainchild where we wanted to attract rugby league to the Midlands, but also give them something more than just rugby to come for. So we put on a joint rugby league and music festival. Granted, it was pretty cold. Anyone that was there will remember. But that didn't take away from the fact that we had really exciting games of rugby, obviously in a nines format, across men's and women's, and we also had a social rugby tournament as well. So lots of rugby in a great club, Broad Street Rugby Club. Whether we'll be there next year or somewhere else, we're not quite sure, but venue is quite important to us. And then we had 3 brilliant acts. We had a local singer-songwriter, solo guitarist as an act. We had an American punk sort of
punk rock noughties band, yeah.
Lots of Green Day, think about Green Day and that kind of stuff. And then the headlined act was probably the top Arctic Monkeys band in the UK, and they were just epic. They were all great. Yeah,
so we we invested. I mean, let's say it out. Is we invested in decent trophies, didn't we? We had decent medals. We had a bloody massive stage with proper sound booth and everything else that went along with it, and it felt like a proper festival. And we're looking for expressions of interest again. If the teams out there that want to get involved, if there's sponsors, we need sponsors to help this event run, because there is certain costs that come along with anything like this. So we're looking to put it on again next year at a later time of year when it's a bit warmer. If you want to get involved, please drop us a message. I'm going to put a form on the website again or something.
Yeah,
like
we can
that.
do. Yeah.
So midlands9s.com. It's currently got the last year's stuff on there, but we'll strip that out. Midlands9s.com. We'll put a form on there, and people can register expressions of interest again on there.
Yeah, and obviously this is the start of regular updates as the tournament is developing and the teams are in, teams are out. I think we had teams from 3 different countries last year. We're looking to improve on that. Like I said, we had men's, women's, and a social form of rugby. I think we can do more. I think we're going to have like an X-League, touch tournament, maybe even a different sport like a netball, rounders, I don't know. But and other activities around the games as well. So whether it's like a bloody sack race for the, you know what I mean? Different stuff. So just make it a bit more interesting.
We've got to keep developing it. I would say is that we're a little bit slow with this, weren't we, this year? We've had a lot going on outside of this podcast. So this has really been pushed by the teams. I'm getting a lot of people getting in touch with me who didn't come last year, who've just seen the footage of the bands and everything else. And they're sort of... that's what's been pushing this along. It seems like there's quite a lot of buzz going on about this already. So we'll start getting some details out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so this is kind of how it's going to work. There'll be a form on the website, so you can fill out the form. We will then slowly, as quick as we can, release the dates, probably the prospective dates where we'll take like a little bit of a survey as to what dates works best, and then once that happens and we've got everything locked in and it's definitely going ahead, we will then open up for an early bird entry. So, you'll be able to get yourself locked in, get a team locked in, or 2. I think there was an organisation of 3 teams last year.
No, 3.
3.
Loughborough had 3 teams, didn't they?
Yeah,
they had a first team, second team, and a women's team. And bloody hell did those students bring the party to the event last year, yeah.
So that's what happened, and then obviously we'll run the tournament later on next year. So, Karl, what is your fondest memory from the Nines last year?
Oh, that's easy, right?
Easy.
There was a chap called, was it Sean Flynn?
Yeah.
Sean Flynn. I think, which team was he involved with? It was the RAF Women's.
I think so,
I think he was involved with the RAF Women's. He's also involved with Bradford Bulls Women's. He'd had a few to drink at the end of the night. The bands had been on and everybody descended back on the clubhouse, and for some reason he decided he was going to do a front flip, but he didn't land on his feet. He landed on his back and nearly put an hole in the bloody floor. But then casually tried to style it out like nobody had seen it. It's like everybody saw it. It was class.
Yeah, and that's something that I really want to stress here is like not only was it great rugby on the pitch and really hard fought competition, but in good taste. And I know the teams that won will want to retain those trophies last year. We had good quality trophies, good quality medals. We wanted to, make a real high quality thing to it. Great music, but then the after party almost was awesome, just epic. We had all these different teams come together, some in fancy dress. Everybody wanting to have a booze and a laugh, and it was just epic.
We had 3 different winners as well last year, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, obviously we had 3 different, but we had a university winner.
Yeah.
We had a Midlands Rugby League team win.
Yeah.
So Sherwood Wolford won the men's tournament.
Yeah.
Midlands Rugby League side. The RAF run the women's tournament, so a forces side won the women's tournament, and the social tournament was run by Loughborough second team, which is a university side. So how diverse can you get?
Yeah, I know.
Perfect, wasn't it?
Exactly what we wanted it to be. Right, okay, let's move on there from Midlands Nines to the Williams Weekly this week. Now, I want to introduce you to a story that you may have missed, and it's the story of Phil Delamere, and his son Alfie. Now they sadly lost their granddad a few years ago, and in memory of his granddad, who was, I think, a bit of a model spotter and liked the railways and that kind of thing, decided that they were going to make a replica of the north stand of the Halliwell Jones Stadium in Warrington. And
it's awesome, isn't it?
It is awesome, Karl. You know, you're saying awesome, but you know, when you saw this story, like what did it make you think and feel?
It was quite a heartwarming story, I thought. It was, yeah, I've actually been following this for a while on Twitter, and people have been posting updates of it as it's been sort of developing. So, yeah, I've been following it quite a while, and just one of those projects that Dad and his son have been able to really get stuck into. And as I said, it was quite a heartwarming story. You know, in memory of the granddad, and the amount of hours that have gone into it, it's really incredible. It's the detail on the stadium. Well, you can see with the pictures up on screen at the minute, the detail on it is awesome. Something I've just really enjoyed to keep track of. Used to be a Lego builder back in the day.
Well, they have AFOLs now, don't they? Have you seen them?
What's that?
AFOL stands for Adult Fan of Lego.
All right.
And it's a big thing, you know.
I
You've
didn't
got
know
like
that.
loads of adults now, that are still doing Lego. But,
Yeah, but Lego's not what it used to be, is it?
No,
It's all specialised bricks these days, you know. But back in the day, you just had
square.
you had 4 bricks, and you had to make whatever you could have. We're going completely off point here.
The reason why we're going to feature in Williams Week this week, not only to get this feel-good story out there, but also to show that there is depth to rugby league. Quite often we get caught up in the goings on the pitch, the games, the tournaments, you know, the players and all that kind of thing. But rugby league is so much more than just a sport to people and the fans of rugby league. And this, you know, this story, this model shows that. It's a great illustration of it. So my question this week, and please, you know, as you're going through this, just stick your answers in the comments below because we love to read them. And my question, Karl, is, you know, what other projects, rugby league related projects, do you remember that's not necessarily just the games on the pitch?
Other rugby league project. The one of the ones that sticks out to me is at Bradford. They've done for quite a number of years. They do. I think they call it like the Big Sleep Out, and it's to raise money for like the homeless, and I think it's for the shelter charity. I might be wrong there, but yeah, that one really stands out in my mind, and it's just a real coming together of the community, not necessarily just involved in rugby league, but it's the rugby league community as a whole and other people from the wider community all coming together to raise money for a charity. Like I said, they do it at Odsall. They all sleep rough for a night. Yeah, so that's the one example I can think of off the top of my head.
Well, I mean, there's loads spring to mind for me because obviously I've spent a bit of time thinking about it. We went to a match recently, Wigan versus Saints, and they did like a mob. It was like a mob choir, weren't it? Like all of a sudden these women just started making the way down onto the pitch, and then they end up just singing like this choir song. And I just thought, you know, these guys may never get the chance to sing in front of thousands of people, but they did today through rugby league, you know, on the pitch. I thought that was great. Obviously you can't forget,
and that's a great example of where you've got people getting involved in a rugby league club who I can't say for certain, but they may not have any interest in rugby league, but the fact that that Wigan did that, it gets them involved in their club, doesn't it? Just like you got your cheerleaders and your dance teams that take part every weekend.
Well, your mascots, your ball boys and girls. Who else? There's so many volunteers.
Well, yeah, every rugby league club can't run without volunteers, can it? Right down to your programme sellers outside the ground, things like that. But yeah, so like your cheerleaders, your dance crews, those girls or boys may not really have any interest in rugby league, and I think that's something that rugby league clubs do quite well, and we don't give ourselves a bit of a pat enough on the back really enough for stuff like that, but I think a lot of clubs do engage well with the community, and actually the most successful clubs are the clubs that can do a wide range of things with the community. Take Leeds Rhinos, for example. They've got a netball side now, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, you know, sticking with Leeds Rhinos, for me, obviously one of the big things is the runs that Kevin Sinfield's done. You know what I mean?
Of course, yes.
Bringing the world of rugby league in conjunction with Rugby Union together to raise money for MND. By the way, Kev is about to do another run, and a friend of the show and friend of ours, Graham Berry, has been invited to run along with one of his legs, so we're going to hopefully bring you that story.
Run along with one of his legs?
Yeah, the legs of his run. The one that stands out for me, right, this seems a bit corny, but there's a reason why I'm talking about this, is this podcast, right? Because, you know, when we talked about like depth of rugby league, now we won't be sat here without the sport of rugby league and having played rugby league together, you know, and when we did play together, you know, all right, we played together, we were teammates, and that was it. Now, we've got a very, very strong friendship, I'd like to think, despite the fact that you helped me move house at the weekend. And I don't think any friend should ask another friend to do that.
Stood on a nail, got a foot infection. You got something stuck in your eye. We worked. Yeah, I mean, we could go on and on and on about that, but yeah, it was a long day. Yeah.
So two things. First of all, I want to thank you for all the help that you've done over that. But secondly, just say, you know, this podcast, we love doing it. You know, as far as a hobby is concerned, but it's something that's involves rugby league, but it's beyond just the players on the pitch and the games. We like to look at lots of different stuff. So that's my Williams Weekly this week. If you've got other projects that you want to, you know, tell us about, or you want us to feature in the show or anything like that, then just keep the news flowing, and make sure you comment down below. Let us know what your rugby league related project is, or most memorable one is. Karl, any final afterburners for this week?
Yeah, for anybody who's a member of our Patreon site, like our membership, we're going to be putting a behind-the-scenes video up on there later on today, so you'll get to see what the studio looks like behind the scenes, how we create this, what goes into the sound booth and the setting and the lighting and everything else, how we put the show together. So that'll be going out on our Patreon website this week.
So until next week, take care.